Before we dive in, just a quick reminder. This episode is for educational purposes only and isn't medical advice. If you're dealing with a health issue, please check in with your healthcare provider. Hi, welcome to the 10th episode of Nurse Coach Duo. I'm Jen Schroer. I'm the owner of Clarity Health and Wellness Coaching.
And I am Angie McGuire, the owner of Coach Angie.
And we are
So excited
super,
to be here.
yeah, super excited. So today it's just going to be you and I. We're going to do a little bit of a recap of what we've been up to, what's coming, and we did an AMA. So we're excited about kind of getting to some questions that people asked us about. What did you think about doing an AMA, Angie?
I mean, I think it's super fun and it's nice to hear from people that are watching and listening to us and want to hear more. And yeah, it's exciting. It's
Yeah,
our first one.
yep, absolutely. I love it. Yeah, we'll do one on the 10th, every 10th episode. We'll do another AMA and a recap and just kind of talk a little bit about what we've been what we've been doing over the course of the last, it's actually takes several months to get through too, because we drop an episode every 2 weeks. So yeah, pretty exciting. So Angie, you want to start kind of with a little bit of a recap of what we've done up to this point?
Yes. So we have, as our listeners know, that our goal is to bring on experts who work with women in midlife around perimenopause and menopause, and really, understand that age and what's happening in our lives during midlife. So we started off with a pelvic floor health, pelvic floor physical therapist, and just she's actually pelvic floor therapist here in Oak Park, and that's where I'm from. And then we've had a couple nurse coaches on, talked about menopause movement and insulin resistance in menopause. And I think those were for our first couple. We had a hypnotherapist, which was very new to me. And I like to say I've learned so much from these providers and their experiences and their knowledge working with their clients and patients. It's been super interesting and rewarding, and
Yeah.
definitely the can't look forward to the future and having more and more people on. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I
then
mean,
Jen, take over. We've on the rest here, the other episodes that we've done.
yeah, I think that, we try to keep it pretty well rounded, but also things that we were super passionate about. We wanted it to be more than just us talking for one. So we definitely loved including the nurse coaches. We got to meet a couple different providers along the way that really loved the idea of getting to talk with us and our audience. And we had Dr. Becky Lynn on talking about sex and Dr. Rebecca Hurdle on talking about perimenopause. So, that was great to have, some provider perspective and then some nurse perspective, but we also brought in a couple therapists as well, which I think was super helpful because, I think during this phase in our life, there's just so much loss of resiliency. That's what I know I've noticed the most is that I don't recover as well from anything. I don't let things roll off the same way. So it was really neat to talk to Amy about CBT and the Menopause Society is saying that CBT is very helpful for our symptoms because, yes, hormones are out there. There's a lot of different options though, and that's what we're really trying to bring is all the different options that it takes a village. How many times have we said that, Angie, in the last 9 episodes? It takes a village to manage this life phase. And whenever we talked about relationships. I thought that was a really interesting one. And Angie, I
Mm-hmm.
want you to kind of talk about that because that was someone that you know and love from Illinois, and I'll let you talk about
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Elena. But
Mm-hmm.
and also was something important to you because you've noticed really a transition in that as you've gone through becoming an empty nester and
Mm-hmm.
how the friendships changed and how the relationships changed. So I think that was a big one too.
Yeah. So Dr. Elena Johnson, right here in Oak Park, who is a Psych D, and you know, just super interesting about again how relationships, not all relationships, but can change, do change, And we've all heard the influencers out there on social media being like, we just don't care anymore. We're going to do what we want. We're going to, you know, turn, we're just in the next chapter, right? So we're trying to find ourselves and figure out what we really want. And, that can be with friends, family, um, partners. But I think, that interview was just highlighted all of that, like where you find yourself here in midlife and in this chapter in different relationships. So if you didn't listen to it, if you didn't listen to any of these, you should go
Yeah.
back.
Should
They're all
absolutely go
interesting.
back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That, and I agree with you, Angie. I really, I mean, of course, we're a little biased, but I think they were all interesting. Of course, Angie and I grew in this process over 10 episodes of, like my lighting is better now. The way we ask questions is better. Our sound is probably better. Things have changed and we're still not experts. We are definitely not professionals at this. We're not trying to be influencers. But I mean, I really do think that we were able to find very well-rounded people who really cared a lot, really want to make a change. And I think that we hear from so many people, they go to their doctors, they're getting gaslit, they don't feel heard, they don't feel like anybody understands them. Well, let me tell you right here at the Nurse Coach Duo, we get it. We understand you. We don't gaslight anyone because we know it's happening. And all of the people that we interviewed are the same way. They're fantastic. And if you have any interests or anything that like in those first 9 episodes, I would definitely go listen, re-listen, hit like, comments, subscribe, all the rest, because we have a lot more amazing stuff coming. But let's do our AMA before we talk about what's to come, okay, Ange?
Yeah. Sounds great.
All right.
Sounds
So
great.
do you want to cover somebody asked how did we meet and decide to work together? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So Jen and I met at a nurse coach conference that was hosted by the Integrative Nurse Coach Academy in Miami last year in April. And, we didn't sit by each other. We were probably, I think we were on each side of the room. There's about 125 nurses there. It was in a small, in a conference center, and they had excellent speakers and presenters, and it was just left motivated. But Jen and I kind of kept crossing paths through the couple days and meaning like running into each other at dinner or but we just connected, and I think we were both we certainly had a connection, but then also we wanted to connect with other nurse coaches.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it was a win-win for us. So we contacted each other after the conference, which I think both of us did, and heard from somebody and didn't hear from other people, which is fine. Everyone's is going down the path in
Yeah.
different ways. But we connected, I would say last May. So it's been over a year that we have been communicating. We first started setting up calls, sort of having conversations, keeping each other accountable, growing our business, starting our business, trying to grow our business. I would say here in nurse coaching and trying to and Jen had the idea to start the Nurse Coach Collective. I mean, Nurse Coach Duo.
Nurse Coach Collective would be where Angie did her course.
Yeah, sorry, that's where my certification program was through.
And that's just what
Anyway,
happens whenever your brain just doesn't always function. If you need to know more about that, Lisa Mosconi will explain why our brains don't work.
right, right, right. And what can't help, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that's the kind of sums it up, but certainly having similar goals and
Yeah.
certainly having a connection and being committed to developing a relationship here in this nurse coach space. So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and it was great that we also just had the same focus of
well, yeah,
perimenopause. So,
yeah.
and like I think that a lot of times you get out there and some coaches feel like they're competing, and it's like there are so many people out there that need help. There's no competition. And Angie and
Mm-mm.
I I've never felt that with you. I've definitely felt that with other people. Like I can see them like just seeing the competition, and there's really not competition. I mean, there's a ton of people who need help. And Angie and I both, that's really what we're here for, right? That's what we want to do. We just want to help. We have learned so much. We have gained a ton of knowledge. We've taken extra certifications and courses and information that we can share and then go along with meeting all of these amazing people who are bringing on as experts and people to interview. Because as we go out there and we get into the wellness sphere, we start to meet even more and more amazing, like
Hmm.
smart people and learn more things that we can bring you. And so, yeah, that's a really exciting part of this. That's part of why I wanted to start it was, for one, to show what nurse coaches can do, and that we're out there and we're here to help. We're part of your village, and then also that we have a lot of amazing people out there that are wanting to help as well, and they get it. Like there's if you're being gaslit somewhere, there's somewhere else that you can go where somebody is understanding it. Like when Dr. Lena started talking about how she asks people about their hormones as a therapist, I was like, who are you? This is
Yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. All
Yeah.
right. So another question we had, this is an interesting one too. I love this one. How do you find an extra side job that pays well and helps sorry, I just missed the thing, feed your soul so you can continue to work bedside. So this must be from another nurse, right? So
Yes.
how do you get an extra side job that pays well and helps feed your soul so you can continue to work at the bedside? I thought that was an interesting part of it that she did want to stay at the bedside. So what do you think about that?
Oh, I mean, I think this hits home, and I actually know who this who asked this question. I'm just going to be completely transparent, and she is one of the finest nurses I've ever met. And I think there's a lot of nurses out there that enjoy working at the bedside, and however, it is obviously wearing physically, mentally, and um, and so people want to shake it up. They want to do both. And so I think to answer this question, I mean, from when I was a manager, when I became a manager, way too young back in my late 20s, of a nursing unit, I had, a philosophy of people working, ambulatory care and at the bedside. Not that ambulatory care is any less stressful, but it's just to have different roles. How about working a day there and 2 days at the bed, just to try to mix it up so we can different stressors because they're both stressful jobs. I mean,
Yeah.
anything a nurse, anywhere nurses are working, um, have their stressors, right?
Yeah.
So I think I would like to see systems, healthcare systems, offering it to nurses working in different sort of areas to help decrease the stress level and the um, incidence of burnout and to retain nurses in hospitals. I mean, one
Yeah.
of Jen and I talk about this is, some people, we've had over the last year plus, what is a nurse coach? Where do you work? And nurses work everywhere, anywhere. Insurance companies. I mean,
Yeah.
nurses we have a lot of opportunities, but we need nurses at the bedside as well, to take care of humans. And
Yes.
so anyway, I think it's just something to think about is just trying to diversify your workload
Yeah.
and advocate even in your system that you're working in. So,
Yeah, love that advocating. Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm going to take it a little bit of a different way, Angie, because I think that that makes a lot of sense. And I agree. Like, but it's very important to us that we're keeping good people at the bedside. So,
mm,
sometimes you'll see things that are trying to pull nurses away from the bedside. Where we want nurses and we want happy nurses to be at the bedside. So the part that I read and when I read that is like feed your soul. Like that part
mm,
really got to me. And I would just say that like you need to figure out what feeds your soul and looking in whether it's journaling, whether it's just starting to recognize and be aware of like what actually brings me joy in my day, whether it's at work, whether it's as a nurse, and maybe it's as something else. Like maybe you love to organize, so you get a side hustle with an organization job. Maybe you love maybe you love driving, so you get a side hustle as an Uber driver, whatever it is, like find that thing that
mm-hmm,
actually feeds your soul and you can
mm-hmm,
do a side hustle. It doesn't have to be everybody I kind of think has to have full-time jobs. Like we can just do side hustles, feed our soul. And then when we go
Hmm.
back to, say, the bedside, if that's what's not feeding your soul at the time, you come back with a
Hmm.
different energy, a different satisfaction to where you have more of a presence for your patients, more patience, like personal patience, while you're there. And when you feed your soul, you're able to treat people better as well. Fill your cup so you
Hmm.
can, take care of them. So I think
Oh
that
my
was,
gosh. I love that.
yeah. I loved that question. I thought that was great. So, all right. Angie, what daily habits do you swear by?
Movement of sorts, any type of movement every day. But I was thinking about this because I one of the first things I do every morning, even if I get up at the crack of dawn, I have coffee and I go outside in my garden in my bare feet and look at my vegetable garden and spend about 8 to 10 minutes out there, and then I
Nice.
come in. So I guess I'll that's a daily habit that I love during the months that I can walk outside with bare feet.
I love that. Little grounding
Hmm.
in there. Yeah. Daily habits. I mean, I have a lot of them. Angie, I know you and I have talked a lot about how much I love to sleep and how it's really important to me. So, I'm really strict around my sleep habits, and so a lot of that comes into like what I'm drinking, how much caffeine I'm having, am I getting morning sun, am I getting movement? Do When do I turn the lights off? When do I stop looking at computers? All this. So there's a lot of daily habits around it, but it's all around just so that my sleep is really high quality and that because I really enjoy it. I don't like being interrupted. I don't like being woken up. I hate waking up in the morning because I want to sleep more. So, it's a lot of that, like I have, yeah, I wear eye guards. I put earplugs in. I read before I go to bed. All of these different things that are, like I said, they're all a lot of different habits, but for one good end of being able to get that. So, yeah, I don't know if I can just say one, but movement's definitely a good one. We all need, the more you move, the better everything is, right?
Well, and the better you sleep, right? So, like to your
Yes.
point, like I think Jen and I would agree that one of our most common complaints from our clients in midlife is around sleep. And it is really about our daily habits that influence our sleep.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if you can be perfect around it, although Jen's pretty perfect.
Definitely not
I am not.
perfect. No, I'm an 80/20 girl.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Me too.
Yeah. I'm all about
Um,
effectiveness, not
yeah,
perfection. Yeah, and
that's
I
great.
just since you brought that up, I will put we can put in the or not the comments, the description. I do have an email or a that you can sign up for to get like 3 phases to better sleep. And it is kind of just a whole smattering of those habits. And what I think is great about it is that you don't have to take on all of them, but it might clue you into what you're doing that might be affecting your sleep. And then you can also go, oh, well, I already do that, and that. So then you choose just the ones that you need to do. So it's
Hmm.
a 3 phase approach. It is before bed, during bed, after bed. So if you're interested in that, I will put the link in the descriptions. It's my website / better sleep. Didn't mean to plug myself, but I apparently just did.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
um, all
I
right.
think
So
it's great.
what are some simple wellness practices I can realistically start right now?
Breathing, breath work, thinking about taking breaths at certain throughout the day. And
Yes.
that's, I would say, one of the most simple practices that I have put into place since, I guess, over the last year, and thinking about my physical health, my health and mental health, um, even more since I became a
Yeah.
nurse coach, and also learning from breathwork coaches and therapists who really focus on breathwork with people. It's fascinating. So, but it doesn't have to be that either. I mean, taking nice, 2, 3 big diaphragmatic breaths to cleanse,
Yeah.
deregulate, or bring our nervous system to where we want it
Yeah.
So that would be my simple.
Yeah.
What
Love
do you
that.
think?
Yeah, I mean, and I love that because they asked about wellness practice and thinking of breathing as a practice, I think is important, right? It's not just, oh, I'm going to use it when I need it. Let's practice it every day. For me, I would say it's listen to your body. And what I mean, and I mean that across all things, right? Because the more that we listen to our body, the more trends we can figure out. And then our body is asking us to take care of it. We just have to learn how to hear it, right? So I mean, it could be as simple as I have to go to the bathroom and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to finish this email and then I'm going to get distracted and go to the next email and the next one and the next one. And then all of a sudden it's been an hour and now I really have to go. Or I'm thirsty and instead of going to get a drink, I just same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So
I
paying
need
attention.
yeah, like I
Yeah.
need some rest, but instead I just have more caffeine. Like just listening to your body, becoming aware of what your body is asking from you. I mean, that can create so many practices that are realistic because you're just doing what your body needs. It doesn't become difficult to put in place whenever you're actually just doing what your body needs.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention. While you're breathing, ask your body what it needs.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All
Love
right,
that.
so how do I know if my symptoms are perimenopause or something else?
Gosh, I love this question. I mean, I love it, I guess, because we hear it, right, Jen? This is a question that we hear. And certainly, it takes, one thing nurse coaches do is when we work with our clients, we start out with a pretty thorough assessment of what is going on. How you are feeling, what symptoms you're having, when you're having symptoms. Um, what are they related to? Yeah. So we're doing a thorough assessment around the wheel of wellness, but starting with physical, mental, emotional health. And so, you know, we are going, sometimes we don't know for sure, right? We have to, in some of these symptoms, you can say, oh, must be perimenopause, but things symptoms need to be worked up, before we can really decide. I think Oprah has done, good things for the menopause movement, but she brought, to the table heart palpitations. And so, can we say right off the bat that heart palpitations are 100% caused by your hormone fluctuations in perimenopause? No, we can't. And, I can't. I'm not a cardiologist, nor would I want to say that without, it being looked at. But would I say that, after it happens once and you get it, you go to the doctor and you keep having it, and, you know, you're getting relief from maybe changes in, could be changes in diet, could be changes in sleep, could be maybe you add some hormones and that symptom goes away, then we can come up with that answer. But I think, symptoms have to be evaluated. And, I think the easiest one, and it's the most commonly talked about, is a hot flash. I don't know,
Yeah.
Jen, what would you say? Like,
No, I think
but
I think
it's
you hit
so
a lot
much
of
more.
yeah, I think you hit a lot of really good points. I mean, unfortunately, depends, right?
Yeah.
We have no labs that will tell you whether you're in perimenopause or not. So if you do labs, great. Do labs for information, that's fine if you want to do that. But there's no one lab that's going to say you're in perimenopause. I agree. You have to rule out certain things that could be like if you're just all of a sudden super tired, all of a sudden putting on this weight and everything. We're going to make sure your thyroid's okay. We're going to make
Hmm.
sure that your heart is not a problem. All these different things. Like there are some things that you have to check on. But what I also like that you mentioned, Angie, is the fact that once you make sure that there is like, some major things out of the way, then you could say, all right, well, we could try some hormones and see if it goes away. Then you got your answer. Yeah, that's probably due to hormones, right? But there are so many things that you can do to just in lifestyle management factors to take care of some of the symptoms and see, okay, if I have joint pain and I stop eating so much sugar, does my pain go away? Or, could it just be that I'm inflaming myself? So there are, like, I agree, like Angie, I think you have to really look into a lot of things. Um, I tend to hear people say the ones that I've kind of like, yep, that sounds like perimenopause, is it's like it just changed all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like I just can't do what I used to do, or it's just not. working the way it used to. That kind of usually is like, yeah, that sounds about right. But again, we still have to check to make sure that things are, all in check before you just, yep, this is perimenopause.
Right. Right. And that's why it can be confusing. And unfortunately, women do feel gaslit. I mean, and that's not, it doesn't always have to do with the provider that you're seeing. It has to do with vague symptoms and vague, I mean, they're not vague, just this sort of like they're gray, right?
Right.
And it takes time and assessment. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about what we do, Jen, is that we have time with people. And that was one of the reasons
Yes.
that I became a nurse coach, is to have those one-on-one conversations with people and really dig deep into how they're feeling, and then get them prepared with their symptoms to take to their provider.
Yeah.
And maybe, just, you know, allow them to have a better understanding of what's going on. So,
Yeah.
um,
15 minutes is not enough to talk about everything going on in your body. So we get that. Yeah. Definitely get
yeah.
that. Yeah. Well, we could
All
probably
right.
go on
So
about that one
this is your
forever.
question.
Okay. What's up?
This question was asked to you. I just no. It says, "Is it normal for my sleep to be so bad in my
Uh,
40s?"
yeah. Well, I'd like to put some air quotes around normal, right? Like what
Yeah.
is normal
Right.
and what is common. That's a real line that we need to draw when it comes to that. Like, because I think that's when people start to feel gaslit is when they're told it's normal. And it's like, wait, but so now I just can't do anything about it. Just because someone says it's normal doesn't mean you can't do anything about it. And just because
Right.
it's common doesn't mean you can't do anything about it. So
Right.
in perimenopause, it is common that you have sleep disruptions. It's not always, not everyone has them. I have them at certain times of my cycle, but otherwise I don't. I sleep great. And I even sleep great most of the even during those moments of my cycle. So it's like some people have them, some people just cannot sleep or waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I don't know that I would ever call it, like I say, normal, but it is very common that when we have these fluctuations in hormones, both estrogen and progesterone, that it can greatly affect our sleep. There is a lot of things you can do about them, and they're probably mostly things you don't want to do. Cut back on your sugar, cut back on your alcohol. Make sure that you turn your screens off at least an hour before you go to bed. Keep a consistent routine. There's so many things you can do with them, but unfortunately, yes, fatigue is the number one symptom for perimenopause. But fatigue is also the number one symptom across the board that people go to see their providers. So there's a lot of people who aren't in perimenopause who also have fatigue. But the sleep disruptions, the hot flashes that interrupt the sleep, joint pain that interrupts sleep, all these different things, they will all impede kind of the sleeping, unfortunately. So, but again, plenty of things that we can do to improve those. You have
Right.
anything you want to
Right.
add or?
I don't think so. I think you hit on it. I would, I'm so glad that you said about the normal, and like, please, if someone says that to you and
Yeah.
you've gone in with symptoms and you've been told they're normal at this age or stage of life, I would, have another conversation or find another provider, or just because you need to be heard.
Yeah.
You deserve to be heard.
Yeah. Yeah, when they're giving you no other alternative, that's what I consider gaslit. When
Hmm.
you're getting, oh, no, that's normal. There's nothing else, nothing we can do about it. That to me is gaslit. Going in and maybe if God, it'd be great if we could just get somebody to be honest and go, I don't really know what to do. Like you need to see somebody else, but I don't think we're gonna ever get there. Okay, so this is another normal question. So we've
Hmm.
already covered normal versus common, but is it normal or common to question my career, marriage, and identity in midlife? That's a big one.
That's a real big one. I think maybe that's a whole episode. Although we already talked about Dr. Elena, we hit
Yes.
on a lot
Yeah.
of answers, ideas around this question of why many people feel, this is why back in the day, it was called the change,
Yeah.
right? It is a change. It's a change for many different reasons. Not only are we aging and our hormones are fluctuating, and, we've maybe worked in the same job for 25 years or 30 years or been married 30 years and or not or the same partner. It's all it's a time of, I think, many people question,
Yeah.
what's next. And we also see where, if you're over 50, um, or even, we're truly in midlife. So we're looking ahead at wondering what's going to be ahead.
Yeah.
And, we have aging parents, and maybe we have friends who have had illness, or, other relations that have had illness and really have gone through things. We've gone through a lot as we,
Yeah.
before hitting this time. And so
I
we're
get
just
that.
looking ahead, and, it's okay to question, and it is a time of investigation, and many people say, transformation, but
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think
So,
that, I know Lisa Mosconi's done a lot of work on, the brain changes that occur, through the menopause transition. And, we end up getting more estrogen receptors as our estrogen drops, which is crazy. Like it's actually like becoming more estrogen starved because it's looking for more. And I think that, it changes the way a little bit of how you think, but it's not like this long term, oh, my brain is going to be affected type of thing. It's just like this almost like a reckoning, right? Like you start to
mhm.
question things, like you said, and then like the I do not care club. Like, yeah, that's funny, but like there are some of it is real
Very
serious. Like, yeah,
serious.
like when I
I,
don't care to like bathe or go to, get to eat or whatever, like things like, when people start not caring about that, this is a problem. Like these are things
yeah.
we want to think about. And I mean, and these hormones that are in our body that are dropping, these are what have been keeping us stable as we can be for a long time. And now we're
Mhm.
starting to lose them. Our body is changing. We have to change with it, right? It's just trying to figure out what to do. And in that, some of it, you lose your resiliency, you lose your F's, and you just suddenly are like, I just don't care anymore. Right?
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
do have to find a way to balance that out. So your stress management is huge at this time of life, and figuring out like, okay, what can I handle? How am I going to handle this? What am I going to do? Kind of plan ahead to have these kind of like, oh my God, I don't care about this and I just can't do it. I actually saw somebody today post something about they actually said I do not care out loud in a meeting, and I actually did that once as well. Like I was
Oh
just
gosh.
like, oh, like I don't know whether anybody heard me, but yeah, like you just like you got to find those ways to manage your stress management and your sleep and all of these lifestyle factors so that you can feel a little bit better during that time. But it is super common for people to want to just buy an RV, drive off, and leave everyone behind. So yeah, we've heard that
It's
before, haven't
important to
we?
recognize it, right? And
Yes.
and and talk to someone.
Yeah, and remember that
Yeah.
you're not the only one, right?
Yeah.
Like yeah. I mean, definitely talk to people, even if it's not a therapist, talk to your friends because if you have friends in the same age group, they're probably feeling the same way.
Right.
Yeah, and if they're not, find somebody else.
Right.
All right, Angie,
Oh gosh. Okay.
if someone's nervous to try coaching, in our case, nurse coaching, what would you say to them?
Nervous to try coaching. Okay. Well, I would say, why are they considering it, and why are they nervous about it? I guess that would be my first um, question. And what's their history with it or experience with it, and what are they going to coaching for? I
Yeah,
guess, is really the why. And hopefully I could help or we would both help try to reduce that nervousness, and just with knowledge around it and what our goals are
yeah,
around our coaching and our, what we do in our
yeah,
with our clients. So
yeah.
it's
I
an
mean,
interesting question.
we're nurses, right? Like we care about
Yeah.
people. Like that's what
Yeah.
we do. We sit at the bedside for 12 hours a day taking care of people because that's what we want. That's where we originated from. But like as a nurse, you will tend to find that, I mean, for one, nurses are the most trusted
There you
career or
go.
job,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
I think we've multiple years in a row that they've been
20 plus years.
voted that,
Yep.
yeah, voted that. Super empathetic. They want to understand and help. And part of our problem is that we want to help too much. And we like as a nurse coach, you almost have to rein yourself back, right? Like, oh, here, go do this. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
let's talk because just because that's how we would do it doesn't mean that's how our client's going to do it. So,
Right.
yeah, I would say there's not a whole lot to be nervous about because we're pretty nice. And
Yeah.
most nurse coaches have a discovery call that's, 15 to 30 minutes. And it's just an initial chat of just like, hey, what is nurse coaching? What are you looking for? Like Angie was saying, what's your why? Why are you even thinking about doing it? And then we just say, yeah, can I help you or can I not help you? And if I can't help you, we'll find you a resource. But, yeah, I think that there's not a whole lot to be lost to at least do the discovery call,
Right.
because you're going to find out like there's probably nothing to be nervous about. And it's not like going to the dentist. We
We're
have
not
no
giving
needles.
shots. We're not
We have
giving
no needles.
shots.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. All
all
right.
right.
So move on to this. Got a couple questions here left. Why do you think nurse coaches can change the face of healthcare?
Ooh.
Oh, this had to have come from a nurse coach.
Right. Yep. Had to have, right? Well, I definitely think that nurses coaches can change the face of healthcare. I think that where we're at today, we're in such this paradigm of disease care, and nurse coaches are very much in the realm of like preventative care, right? So yes, you may already have a disease process, but we're going to prevent you from getting any worse. Where if you don't have a disease process yet, we want to prevent you from getting one. Our goal is very holistic. It's whole body. It's not siloed about that one particular thing that's wrong with you. And it's taking, again, like Angie was saying about like we have hour sessions. We're taking a look at everything. We are sitting down. We are talking with you. We are giving you that time that you need to really tell us what you need, and then us help you figure out how to put that into place and make those changes in your life so that you can live that health span, lifespan that you're looking for and live the quality of life that you want. We're not here to tell you what your quality of life should look like. We're here to help you get the quality of life that you do want. And I think that doctors and providers they really have the right mindset whenever they're telling you to eat healthier and to work out more, but that doesn't tell you how or when or help you do it, right? And we're going to tell you what you should be doing and help you figure out what you should be doing, and then actually stand by you and make you accountable and help you be accountable for that. So,
Yeah.
what do you
And
think?
specifically, yeah, specifically for our clientele in midlife, because I think we're going to start to see nurse coaches in hospitals and clinics, and but for us who have our own practices and working with individuals one on one, which we would in the hospital too, but I mean more in a out of acute care, we're more meeting with people about preventing illness, not in like when you're sick in the hospital. It's very hard to be educated and
Yeah.
change things when you're not feeling well or you're in an acute situation. But I think what you were saying, how what we can help you with, and where I think we can, change the face of healthcare for women in midlife is work with you on sort of habits, knowledge, awareness, that happen in our first part of our life, and
Yeah.
not we're not I'm not talking trauma. I'm talking about it's getting back to the basics
Yeah.
of maybe what we thought. And I was just joking with a friend of mine yesterday about how we grew up not saying to eat no fat, and
Yeah.
you know um Gen Xers really got screwed. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, with the whole nutrition thing, or nutrition, are the way we were taught to eat and how we were taught to exercise, and or thought this is what we should do. So anyway, it's just one of the other avenues that I feel like we can really help make change, and really put the work in now for your future,
Yeah.
and really thinking about how you want to live, how you want to, what do you want to look like? What do you want to be doing when you're 80 years old? If we,
Yeah.
cheers to living as long as we have. And, if we're fortunate to live, 30, 40, 50 more years, how do we want to live? So
Yeah.
it's time to make those changes and start thinking about how you want to live.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but
No.
often you need a partner and an advocate and support. And that's a lot of what we do. When people really know what they need to do, we're there
Yeah.
to sort of push you along.
That's right. That's right. Well said. All right. Coming down to the last couple here, what's something you wish every woman knew about menopause?
That menopause is a very broad term. Yes, the definition is one day, the day that you have not menstruated for 365 days. That one day is menopause. But I do think this language is going to change because it's confusing, right? So I wish every woman in midlife knew about what's happening in perimenopause. And we know perimenopause can be 4 to 10 years, average of, I know you hear all difference, 4 to 7. I mean, it's just, it's the numbers are, it's different for everybody, but it is certainly the years prior to that day of menopause are intense and not for everybody. But, there's lots going on in your life as well, probably. And then with the fluctuation of hormones and having irregular cycles, which is really the first true symptom of perimenopause, is when your cycles become irregular. Like if you've had a 28-day cycle and all of a sudden it's 31 and then it's 26 and
Mhm.
then it's 35. That's really the start of menopause. So I guess that's where I'll leave it to you. What would you say?
I think for me, it's that just because if you are one of those lucky people who don't have symptoms in menopause, it doesn't mean that it's not creating any problems in your body,
Mm. Yeah,
right?
that would be the next thing I would say too.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think we have spent social media, the all the things that are going on in the menopause world right now. We're spending so much time talking about the symptoms and
Yeah,
what is creating because we are from a that's what we're used to, right? We have a symptom, we go get
we
it
treat
taken
it.
care of, right? And
Yep,
we're not going to do anything until there's a symptom. I want people to understand that just because there's no symptoms, your hormones are still dropping. They are still affecting your bones and your muscles and your brain and your heart,
your heart.
everything, your heart. Yeah. Those effects are still occurring, even if you're not experiencing symptoms. So, what does that mean? That means we still have to put lifestyle factors changes in place. If you want to do hormones, you can still do them even if you're not symptomatic. I don't think everyone has to do hormones. You can certainly, do whatever you feel is right for you and do what you can to manage those effects of the loss of estrogen, progesterone in your life without them. But you just have to make sure that we're putting in those changes. And those changes occur regardless of whether we're on hormones or not. I said it yesterday, Angie, in our interview, just because it decreases your risk of dementia or osteoporosis or, heart attacks, the hormone therapy, just because it decreases your risk, does not mean that your risk is null. Your risk does not go to nothing. You still have a risk. You still have to treat your body right. And
Yeah,
even doing that is not going to take it to null, right? Like we
right.
are always at risk. We have ways that we can decrease our risk, and that we need to make sure that we are still doing those things regardless of whether we have symptoms or not.
Yeah. And I'll just add on one thing is that we love to say that hormone therapy or menopause hormone therapy is one of the tools that
Yeah.
can support the changes happening and, really, you know, another aid in longevity, right? But there's
Yeah.
just so many other parts of it too. So
Yep. Absolutely. Well said. All right. Last question. I'm afraid to talk to my doctor about hormone therapy. Any advice?
Ooh, I can be real quick on this,
Okay.
is just be as prepared as you can when you don't be afraid. Um, I would say if you are afraid or wondering how to, the first few steps is be prepared and also make an appointment specifically for menopausal care. So they
Good
know
advice.
that that's why you're coming in. And so then you have that 17 to 20 minutes or maybe even a shorter amount of time to specifically talk about and ask your questions about hormone therapy.
Yeah.
There's a lot more I could say on this, but it's be prepared, advocate for yourself, and let them know why you're coming.
Yeah.
Don't blindside them.
That's great advice.
It's shared decision making here. So
Right.
it's a
Right.
relationship.
Yeah, and I think going into it with that thought process is great, right? Don't go into it like, oh, I this is exactly what I want and this is what I'm doing, because that's just going to turn them off right away. But I do want to just kind of expound on your be prepared piece because I think this is what you mean, but I it was going to be what I recommend is like tracking. Tracking is the
Mm,
number one thing
yes.
that you can
Yes, I love
do.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, track for it, probably a month before you go. It's probably going to be some time. Like when you make that appointment, you probably have to wait at least a month anyways to get the appointment. Start tracking. Use an app, use a calendar, write it down, whatever you got to do. What are my symptoms? When are my symptoms? How severe are they? And by severity, I'm saying, like, are they interrupting my day? Can I continue? Can I go for a walk whenever I'm having a hot flash? So it's mild, or I can't, I've got to strip all my clothes off when I'm having a hot flash. So it's severe. I can't even function. I can't think right when my brain fog is so bad that, I'm skipping words. I'm unable to do my presentations. You kind of start to also grade them. So you track them and then you put them at how severe they are.
Mhm. Yes, for sure. And one thing else I'll say is I've heard, our OB gins out there that are our friends out there in social media is one of the things that they recommend and what they appreciate. And this is midwives and nurse practitioners, women's health nurse practitioners as well. But is, you can bring your top three questions too, or your top three not, and tracking might be one of them. This is what I'm going to show you. What do you think? Like your time. And if you can't, if you're done with your appointment, make another appointment in a week.
Yeah.
You can't, our healthcare system doesn't allow a provider to see you twice in one day. Insurance doesn't cover things like that, but you can make an appointment, you know, soon or when leaving the office if you didn't get your questions answered.
Yeah.
Or ask them, do you have a nurse coach that I can talk to?
That's
Why
right.
don't you have a nurse coach in your office?
Yeah.
That wouldn't that make sense to have a nurse coach in your office?
And Angie and I both offer like short-term packages to
Yeah,
where we can help with this exactly as well. Like,
yeah.
let's just get you the information you need to go in and take care of yourself and talk to your doctor. And then, you can, that's all you need. That's what we give you. And then you come back if you want to later. Like we both offer things like that. So, you're not left alone. There's plenty of information out there, through good reputable sources. Make sure you use good, people who are actually reputable. So let's talk a little bit. Let's wrap this up, Angie, and talk a little bit about what's coming. So this is our 10th episode, which is
Yay.
amazing. And we have our next nine lined up. So, or like I said, our next 10, because the 20th will be this again. So let's talk a little bit. We've got a couple functional medicine doctors coming on, which I think is pretty cool. So a couple more providers, one that's going to talk to us about GLP-1s, and then one that's going to talk to us about immune system dysfunction. So kind of like autoimmune realm. Angie, talk to us a little bit about our nurse coaches that we're going to have on.
Yes. Well, very exciting. We're going to have a sound bath healer. You all, the nurse coaches out there listening, you can guess who that is. But yeah, and then one talking about healing circles, which is really exciting. We're gonna have Dr. Hurdle back on, who is OBGYN. If you haven't heard that episode from um, our top nine is all about perimenopause, which she does an amazing job. And
Yeah.
so we're having her on again to talk about hormones. We have a physical therapist talking about joint pain and bone density. And then we're going to have men in menopause. We're going to have our husbands on.
That's right.
the show, and we're going to do an Ask Us Anything or Ask Me Anything. And so a similar show to like that with this, but also with them on the interview too. So
Yeah,
we're
so keep
excited
it
about that.
keep an eye out for us asking for what questions do men have about menopause because our husbands will represent the men in that interview. And then we also have another nurse that's coming on to talk about gut health, which will be awesome. She will help us understand like inflammation and everything going on there. So it's gonna be an
Yeah.
awesome next set of 10. So again, like we've said earlier, please subscribe. What help it really helps us. I mean, I don't think before this I ever subscribed to a YouTube channel, so I totally get it. Um, but what it does is it helps people see that we have people watching, and then we can get more people on, more experts on to interview. They're more likely to come on if they can see that people are watching and listening. And we know there is because we can see it on our side, but the subscriptions are what tell people on the other side of it. So please, if you want to see more great interviews with Angie and I, please make sure that you're subscribing and add comments, likes, whatever you can offer so that we can keep this going. We're really loving doing this and bringing this information.
Yes. And again, thank you for listening. And please comment, ask us questions. Both are on all our interviews. We put our social media, our emails, our websites. Reach out, ask us questions.
Yeah,
You'll never know the answer if you don't ask the question.
that's right. There are no dumb questions, as we've been told our
Right.
whole life. So thank you so much for joining our 10th episode.